are the headlines and our top focus. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has defended the decision of U.S. President Donald Trump in resuming nuclear tests after a halt of 33 years, calling it important for American national security. The directive issued has generated widespread concern and condemnation from international bodies working for arms control. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has called the United States' plan to resume tests as regressive and irresponsible. These remarks are significant as Iran has faced sanctions from the West for pursuing its own nuclear program that it insists is peaceful. U.S. President's decision is largely seen as a strategic and political signaling rather than a technical necessity, as the United States has already in possession of an extensive and reliable nuclear stockpile. The move may reignite a nuclear arms race with China and Russia while paving the way for continued tests by countries such as Iran and Saudi Arabia also that have long sought a nuclear umbrella. The Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, signed in 1996 to prevent further nuclear testing, has now come under strain after this particular decision. However, the United States has not yet ratified the treaty, while nuclear powers such as India, North Korea and Pakistan have also not signed it. Meanwhile, the U.S. administration is going ahead with the directive, and Vice President Vance has called on nuclear arsenals possessed by China and Russia as meager. Let's in fact listen in to what he's had to say.
Well, I think the president's truth speaks for itself. We have a big arsenal, obviously. The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes you've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly. We've been working very closely, even with nations that we don't have the best relations with, to try to limit nuclear proliferation. The president's going to keep on working on that, but it's an important part of American national security to make sure that this nuclear arsenal we have actually functions properly, and that's part of a testing regime. To be clear, we know that it does work properly, but you got to keep on top of it over time, and the president just wants to make sure.
With us on the broadcast is Lev Aaron, senior journalist, joining us from Israel. Thank you so much for taking out time and speaking to us on NewsX World. Interesting statement coming in from J.D. Vance. We'd earlier seen Donald Trump as well come out and remark that China is far behind in this particular race. It's primarily Russia that also holds a stockpile as big as the United States of America. I wanted to understand from you, is this a mere posturing, mere signaling, or what exactly is the message that the United States is now sending with this?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. I believe that Iran wants to grab a lot of attention because Iran was humiliated during the 12 days war. We saw the intelligence penetration of Israel into Iran. We saw the Tehran dwellers simply run away from the capital city of Iran. So it seems that on one hand, of course, Iran wants to learn the lessons from this war, that it was humiliated. But on the other hand, because of, desi domestic reasons, it wants to show that Iran is preparing for a new war with Israel.
Indeed. And, we've seen a statement also from the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. He's called the U.S.'s plan to resume tests as regressive and irresponsible. We do know Iran is facing sanctions for pursuing its own nuclear program. Iran, on one hand, insists that it is a peaceful program. Do you think this is some sort of a double speak from the Iranian side then?
Not only Iranians, we see that countries like Iran or like Qatar and most of the Middle East, there is a very strong doublespeak. You see that even in Sunni moderate countries, when they go to when they go to TV or radio or internet, they will scold Israel. But chup chup, they will have great relationship with the Israeli intelligence. So in the Middle East, you cannot really bank on what people say openly. You need to delve into the true interests of each and every country.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And I also want to understand from you, the US, of course, has not ratified the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty that had come about in 1996. In light of this, What do you think, what in your perspective does it then augur for other countries to criticize the United States of America?
Look, right now, I believe that most of the countries in the Middle East, and also it includes Israel, they are very careful not to walk over the red lines of Donald Trump. And even Iran is careful. Israel is very careful also. Also, the hostages that came back, it was not something that our government did. It is something that was a red line of Trump, Kushner, and so on. So I believe that right now, because Trump is so unpredictable, most of the countries want to be on his side, or at least to be very careful. And some countries are true champions of America.
Indeed, I request you to stay on with us as we're tracking some more updates, this time from the Middle East. We're now learning that Israel